Okay, we are recording. Awesome. Okay, welcome everyone to the premiere call for the Laughter and Possibilities Lounge. My name is Elaine Torrance-Gingrich, and I am so thrilled and honored to welcome you all to this call. Our guest today is Ms. Shantala, and Shantala is going to speak to us today about exploring rituals such as Tantric Sex to bring out our divine feminine. And this topic intrigues me, so I'm hoping it intrigues all of you as well. A little bit about Shantala. She is a very gifted and talented healer who helps women to recognize their divine feminine magic and brings that about by teaching us how to connect to the 4 pillars in our life that are equivalent to the 4 elements of our life, which is the earth, air, fire, and water, and aligning of our chakras. It's about connecting to our entire being, body, mind, and spirit, and bringing it all in to unleash and embrace the feminine divine within and ignite magic and laughter and love into our lives. So welcome, Shantala. I'm thrilled to have you here.
Wow, what an introduction. That's pretty amazing. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
I'm really appreciative of that. Actually, so I am a healer, and I've been doing sessions with people for a while now. Apparently, I've been training 30 years to be in the place where I am right now. So everything's, I come from a Hindu religious background, but most of my spirituality is based in a combination of Hindu background as well as Wiccan spiritual folklore. So I truly respect the elements of nature, the earth, the sacred feminine divine, and all of that comes together to help people actually connect to their source, tap into their magical feminine energy, and really manifest, really make things happen, and improve and uplift the world of the people. Exciting journey, exciting place to be. And you actually experienced one of my sessions the other day. Can you give a little bit of feedback for a couple sentences about how you felt and what you experienced?
Well, what I really appreciated about the session the most was the aligning and the analogy of the 4 pillars to the 4 elements. I thought that was really, really intriguing and very valuable, and I really enjoyed that immensely. And I enjoyed the calmness that I felt as we were working together. It was really quite an interesting experience, and one I highly recommend to anyone on this call if they want to take advantage, which, by the way, as we get towards the end of the call, I will absolutely have Shantala share with you ways in which you can work with her further. So why don't we delve right into the content, Miss Shantala, dear? Explain to me Tantric Sex is going to ignite our divine feminine goddess passion.
Okay, so let me begin with the elements, and actually let me talk about how the 5 elements, the 4 elements of air, water, earth, and fire, when they connect to source, to create the 5 mystical elements, and that's how you have any form in existence is contained of these 5 forces. So when you have divine, the sacred feminine divine, it's a magic. It's a creative feminine magic that's located within women as the the creators of feminine magic. We're capable of manifestations beyond anyone's control, and it's kind of a modern phenomenon where everyone sees it as a feminine awakening, as a new force, as something new, and most of the time people will assume that sex is usually male initiated. It's kind of one of those things where when any woman who's powerful or who takes charge or who shows a little bit of initiative in the bedroom per se is out of line, is out of order, and that's absolutely not true. It's actually part of the natural order, because the magic of the sacred feminine divine is the easiest way to tap into source. And it's a lot of people. There are so many people who will actually go back and forth, and they'll do the meditations, they'll do yoga, they'll go to temple, they'll go to church, they'll go to all these great number of mystical places to tap into that energy of the universe and to really connect. And it's incredible that as human beings, we've been given this absolutely easy way of tapping into that source magic through the power of Tantric Sex. Tantric Sex is not, like most people think of Tantra, they think of deep breathing and making orgasms last longer for the sake of like some lascivious need, and it's not true. It's more of making that feeling of ecstasy, drawing it out, making it last. The human body has all of these chakras that are all over the body, all up from your base. In your pelvic area. There's 6 of them, and they go straight up the backside, up your spine. And the final one is near your throat area. So there are 6 that are up your spine, and they're each a different color, and they each channel different energies. And they're also connected to different organs and whatnot. So that's why, they say that a healthy lifestyle, eating well, and, when you exercise, you specifically focus in on certain parts of the body. The reason that you would want to keep the body in fit shape, in perfect shape, is because it is a temple. And it's not just a temple to be viewed as something beautiful. It's an actual physical temple to be used as a vessel for human beings to connect to the sacred feminine divine and to tap into the magic and the energy. Because for example, if you take the missionary pose, you have the man is lying on his backside, and all of his chakras will be in alignment, straight up the backside where the spine is located, and a little bit of deep breathing will clear the energy, release all negativity and toxins, and bring a harmonious, rift. This is the time when people use foreplay as a means of clearing any of that negative energy. It's a way of bringing laughter and magic and a little bit of love into the session, so that builds the environment, it builds the tension, it clears out any negative energy, and brings people to a state where they're physically, mentally, and emotionally ready. Like people who have, a fight and then have makeup sex and whatnot, it's not going to be pure sex. It's not going to be tantric sex, which is, where you indulge in it to really, really get your heart and your soul connected to the divine. Having makeup sex after an argument, it's actually just a physical need. It doesn't heal the mental or the emotional, and that's why it's like important to do the foreplay, have the building up of the tension, have the chakras in alignment, have the mental, emotional, and physical values of everything put together and ready to go. And that's when both parties are spiritually connected. When both parties are aligned, when in the missionary position, their chakras are also aligned. So the power from the female, that divine feminine magic, is transferable to the male. Before any kind of sexual interaction has even occurred, just from the bodies lining up in position, the physical energy from her chakras, from her creator magic, is already transferring to the male. It's already including it's already channeling the divine feminine energy into the male. And so that's why having a man on top or a woman on top alternating helps to align those chakras and helps to make it a spiritual experience and whatnot. So what was I?
Well, let me interrupt with a question for a minute.
Okay.
For our lovely Adonis men on our call today, or that might be listening to the recording later, how does this benefit them, or what do they transfer to the women? And you spoke a lot about the divine feminine. In other words, we as women, we pass on that divine feminine energy onto our male partners by aligning this way. But what energy do our Adonis?
Well, the Adonis is the Adonis. They don't transfer energy back into the female. They actually are recipients. So traditionally, women, the female body has been seen as the vessel, as the recipient, and the male as the it's the difference between the yoni and the lingam. The lingam has always been seen as the giver, and the yoni has always been portrayed as the receiver. But it's like physically that occurs only because the lingam gives to the yoni in order to receive the energy from the yoni, if that makes sense. They don't transfer energy back to the sacred feminine divine. They actually they're recipients of it. So when people actually engage in the act of tantric sex, they use the breathing, they line up their chakras, and they really have gotten into the foreplay enough that it's a euphoric experience that lasts, and it's purely feminine magic power, and the male is the recipient of that. He doesn't transfer energy, even when there's energy when the male is on top, when the male is using the power move, whether it's standing or lying down or any kind of male-initiated move. It's literally just an action to tap in deeper and receive more magic.
That's very interesting. Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
It's kind of neat how every time the male makes a move or taps in, it's merely the human. Tantric Sex is a big believer that we're divine souls having a human experience. So if you go past we're just a couple of human beings enjoying a sexual experience, it's actually your divine soul connecting with another divine soul and utilizing the feminine magic to tap into, great source. Because there's different faces and different forms that people put to source. That's why there is so many, different gods and so many different religions and so many different paths to follow. But initially, source in its prime form is merely that. It's energy. It's source. It's what creates and runs and manifests the world. But what makes it even more special in our conversation today is we're talking about the sacred feminine divine, which is a very special energy. In any frame, in any school of thought, you'll find male and female energy discussed as a yin-yang type of thing, where there should be a proper balance. So male and female energy is referred to commonly, but it's really light and dark energy. It's just it's a balance of light and dark, and if you have ever seen the yin-yang, you'll notice that the soul of the light is actually the body of the dark, and vice versa. There has to be a perfect balance of either side. That's why, it interests me astrology also interests me in that aspect as well, why opposites attract. I myself am a Pisces, and so my Virgo is my perfect opposite. I'm a water sign, and the Virgo would be the earth sign, and the heart of the Virgo would be that of a dreamer, which is a Pisces, and the heart of the Pisces would be that of a logical, rational, analytical Virgo, who gets things done, who is grounded, who's level. So, if there's a perfect balance, a perfect blend, astrologically speaking, people connect. And that works with Tantric Sex as well, when the energies are aligned, when everything connects, because there's an equal amount of male energy and female energy, light energy, dark energy, and the souls are connected as well. That can be a truly divine experience. And the euphoria of orgasm is not just a quick trip to Pleasureland. It's actually a long, drawn-out, magical journey that can last and actually increase people's long life, health, happiness, and even health benefits, because the art of sex releases many kinds of hormones into the body that keep the joints lubricated, that provide agility, and the serotonin that goes into the emotional aspect. It's like, it's better than a pound of chocolate a day,
Oh, and much healthier for you, I'm quite sure.
Absolutely. It's funny how, such a simple topic can actually become, a manifestation of divine magic. And people will tell you when they go to exercise and they can, they really get into the spirit of the workout and everything, they can sort of feel a high, like a euphoric high, and they get their best ideas for work or relationships or business when they're in the midst of that. The same thing goes with Tantric Sex. When you're really focused in the here and the now and the other person and yourself, and you're not thinking of your to-do list for the next day or whatnot, and you can actually channel in to the greatest source and get the next step. You can actually attract the type of plans that you need to in order to manifest what you need in life.
That's really, really cool. So explain to me a little more about what you mean when you speak of divine magic. Obviously, we're not talking about the magic you see at a magic show. So
no.
why don't you explain a little bit more about what you mean by that term, divine magic?
Okay, divine magic is actually really interesting. It's one of the coaches that I've listened to in the past, Elizabeth Purvis. She explains it incredibly well, and she talks about divine feminine magic and the art of creating. A lot of people know the art of creating through the law of attraction and visualization, manifesting. There's a huge boom and a huge surge in the amount of information that's out there and healers that share this type of information, as well as people, like ordinary people who, they live and they work and they lead social lives and they have families and whatnot, whether you're single or in a couple. A lot of people are really aware of the art of manifesting the law of attraction and bringing things into your, what you need to do. The part of the art of feminine magic that comes in is a little bonus. It's kind of where it's like, instead of just tapping into, when you do a meditation, maybe outside, and you start visualizing, you start dreaming, maybe you'll focus on the flame of a candle. And you start channeling energy, you start channeling thought, you start trying to figure out exactly what it is you need to be doing in order to move forward with whatever your dreams are and everything. That's one way to tap into it. And then you go a step further when the art of feminine magic comes forward, because the sexual aspect of it can actually tap into your physical manifestations a little bit stronger than just working through your mind by itself. Like, for example, last Saturday, I was fortunate enough to participate in a goddess circle. I went to North Jersey, and the goddess circle was run by a goddess named Goddess Pamela, and she's trained in the Wiccan arts. She is a practicing Wiccan, and she conducts a circle, and we have an altar dedicated with all the goddesses that are in the modern or the ancient world. And everyone who comes to the circle brings a piece of talisman that they, want to have on their desk for inspiration. Because a lot of times people we don't realize that, just having some little thing, whether it's a picture frame or a photo, it's a good way when things like knock you over, when stressful situations occur, when tension happens, sometimes even just picking up an object that has special meaning to us, that's been, blessed in our own heads, just picking up, looking at it, feeling it, tasting it, smelling it, whatever it is, it can actually tap into that quick. It's like a Pavlovian dog trained situation where you automatically shift into happier frame of mind. That's feminine magic, doing things like that. So back to the goddess circle, we each bring a talisman that we want to manifest with physical energy. So when you have a group of women together, people often wonder why we travel to the bathroom in groups, why when women get together they can talk for hours and really connect, and what is it you girls talk about when you talk on the phone for 3 hours? That's actually our divine feminine magic manifesting. That connection, the recognition of one soul's divinity of another. It's easier for women because it's more natural for us. It's actually, the art of connecting and talking and laughing and showing affection. That's the easiest way of manifesting divine feminine magic physically. When you actually when you tap into that, that's the part that makes it a little bit different than when you just sit down and you meditate, and that's a very male-oriented way of tapping into your divine feminine magic because it's more of a physical thing. You express love and affection. You express your feeling by, forward motion, forward action, that type of thing. But to channel everything inside and to manifest your visualizations and dreams and what you want to happen, that's more of a reserved, darker energy, more masculine-oriented way. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly normal. But it's just interesting that most people don't realize that males and females are they manifest differently if they are in their natural element, if they're doing it the way that their natural gender allows for them to tap into the energy.
That's very interesting. Interesting to hear things put that way.
Yeah. It's like Dan Brown. He's one of my favorite authors. Dan Brown writes Angels and Demons, and he writes about the Illuminati and Knights Templar and all kinds of fun things. And, there's some people will call it hogwash. Some people will call it, based on ancient sects of truth and whatnot. But things that they all have in common is that all of those ancient societies, they worshipped the sacred feminine divine. They actually, they knew how to tap into the female feminine magic and use that and manifest that. Like a lot of people will say that our ancient forefathers were, some of them were atheists because they didn't, go to church. They didn't sit there and pray and whatnot. But if you look at their practices, they actually were very spiritual people, but they believed that the human soul was divine, and that the human soul is divine, and that the temple, the physical body is actually a temple that houses that divinity. And so maintaining the temple is a way of honoring the divinity of the human soul. And so the forefathers of our country, when they, didn't always go to church, or they didn't always go to temple or whatever it is to pray outside, it's because they were academics. They believed that fostering the mind, fostering the brain, fostering the power of the human soul, channeling inwards, is honoring the sacred divine, connecting to nature, connecting to, removing the barriers that separate the human soul from the elements of nature is actually the greatest way to honor the divine. And so that's why many of the works that they've written are so academic and so, preserving of human culture and whatnot. So if you're a fan of Dan Brown, he really taps into this. He really explains it, even though it's through fictional books and fictional stories. The characters are fictional, but the stories are all based on true life, true pieces of history. So it's kind of fascinating when you look into it, and how they used to have rituals where men and women would get together, and the original swingers were not swingers. They wouldn't get together to, exchange partners, exchange wives, exchange girlfriends and boyfriends for sexual passion by itself, but merely they would connect based on souls and chakras and alignments, and the greatest form of physical attraction as a means of tapping into the sacred feminine divine, and reaching the highest state of euphoria as a means of worship.
I was just going to say that. So it was more in terms of a mystical experience, or a way to tap into their own unique divine aspects, rather than just an act of sex in and of itself.
Absolutely. It was totally not just an act of sex. In fact, it was like it had to be built up. It was a very, very sacred ritual. And they used to do many ceremonies and many things to, cleanse and do all kinds of interesting things to release, any toxins, any energy. They used to yoga is not like just a new thing right now. People use the art of yoga for a long time. It just became popularized in Western culture in the 60s because as a means of healthy heart health.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just there's so many interesting things if you look at history, if you look at modern science and tapping into divine feminine magic. It's just it's always been there. It's always existed, and the knowledge has always been there. But it's only now that we kind of get into exploring mysticism, exploring a little bit of the tantric aspect of the physical, of exploring the physical as an easy means of tapping into the divine. But it also has to, both people have to approach it from a respectful stance, and not merely as just animals. We're like social animals. Human beings are social animals. The power of will and thought are what make us, when we perform, different from other animals in the animal kingdom,
Right. Okay. So why don't you explain some of the actual benefits to exploring the feminine divine? How does that translate into practical results for people? How would that translate for them? What can they expect to experience in the way of a beneficial type of experience?
Beneficial experience. Okay. Well, we talked about some of the health aspects where the hormones and whatnot that are released during sex can actually increase physical health with the serotonin and the progesterone, and it evens out the hormones in the body that are lacking, that are neglected, and whatnot. And then some of the other physical aspects are emotional as well. One second, I'm trying to open this file that I have. Okay. I have my file with my notes on it. It's not opening. Okay. The emotional aspects that are healed can also be like the physical act of foreplay is about uplifting and elevating the other, and both parties are involved in this. So the act of doing that, it's when you actually show care and attention and attention to detail. When you are truly invested in that person, a lot of tantric sex positions are very similar to yoga positions, as well as an ancient dance form called an ancient Indian dance form called Bharatanatyam. There's a lot of the same positions exist, and most of those positions require the male and the female to connect physically, to connect through the eyes. It's not just your chakras that are lined up when you face each other, or when you face backwards, or when you face whichever way you come towards each other. One of the most interesting positions that I've come across it's called the lotus position, and it's usually the male who sits cross-legged on the surface, and then the female will be sitting on top with the legs wrapped around the backside. And there's not a lot of movement. It's very, very slow, and it's mostly designed. The fingers will be linked, and it's mostly designed for the eyes to connect. And that position is meant to, to build intimacy, to build the foreplay. It's meant mostly to, slowly kiss and to bring out the inner energies, the vulnerable parts, the parts that people don't want to show. And it's interesting because a lot of people don't realize it's actually really uncomfortable to look another human being in the eye for very long, even our significant others. In movies, they show this all the time. They show where people look into each other's eyes and they explore, and you can see the change, you can see the shift, but those are movies. Those are people acting. Those are people faking it for our viewing pleasure. But when it happens in real life, it's actually shocking because we're so used to putting up our barriers, our walls. We don't look people in the eye. We don't connect. One of my favorite quotes is, my best friend is somebody that I can sit on the front porch with for 3 hours of silence and leave feeling like I've had the best conversation in the world. And that's the emotion that I'm talking about. That's the connection. That's the benefit that can really release a lot of stress and anxiety and tension, because we spend our entire lives running around in the rat race, doing things, working, making connections, keeping in touch with people we may not really care to keep in touch with, but because we're required to for work or social or obligation or pleasure, whatever the situation may be, we have all these shallow contacts with human beings. But when you come to the sexual aspect of it, when you use sex to tap into your sacred feminine divine, there are many ways of doing it, but today's topic is Tantric Sex. When you use that, one of the best positions is to use the lotus position. And you come together as mutually respectful and open as you can be. There's going to be a lot of shyness, a lot of anxiety, a lot of nervousness, because people have to come to terms with with how vulnerable a position it is. You know, especially whether it's the woman, whether it's the man, whether, you know, one initiates the, you know, soul searching aspect of it, or they both start at the same time. It's kind of, you come together to do it together. It's like you come together with faith, you come together with a little bit of trust, and you come together with the belief that because your human souls are connecting by looking through the eyes, by exploring, by the art of silence, by the tension that builds, by the physical bodies perfectly matched, aligned, wrapped around each other in that position where all the chakras are lined up and the breathing is you know, perfectly in rhythm, when both parties are breathing in synchronously.
Yes.
Yes, in synchronicity. When both parties are breathing in synchronicity and the palpable tension can be felt in the air, your body, your soul actually leaves your body. Both souls will actually leave the body, and you'll feel a floating sensation. You'll feel like you're not a part of that physical action. When it's that perfect, you know it's working. When you feel like you're out having an outer body experience where you can actually project yourself to be outside of your body and to watch your body. And that's tapping in. That's the genuine art. Those are the people who can actually physically tap in. And it's not easy to get there. It takes some practice, it takes some work, and it also takes a great deal of trust.
Yeah, I would imagine trust is a very big portion of this.
Yeah.
Very definitely.
That's why it's really important that people don't settle. You know, when they're looking for a significant other, when they're having fun, you have fun with the aspect of detachment. There's detachment until physically your body will know when you've come across the person who best connects with you. And you'll have physical signs of it. You'll have the emotional signs of it. It's, you know, again, we are divine beings having a human experience, and the human experience is where our minds, the fourth dimension, our brains, they interfere and they tell us all these things. They analyze everything, and they want to think everything through instead of feeling. That's the difference, as our coach, Heather, will tell us. It's the difference between doing and feeling.
Right, because it's always about paying attention to how you feel, because the feeling is the communication from spirit that lets you know whether this is good for you or not.
Absolutely.
So it's learning to tune in and really check in to see how you're feeling, because we don't do that.
Yeah, no, we don't.
No,
we don't.
Everything's become very routine and matter of fact and taken for granted, and we don't take the time to stop throughout the course of a day and determine, does this really feel good? How am I really feeling right now? Is this benefiting me, or is this contracting me and closing me off?
Absolutely. It's like it's so interesting that most people don't realize it actually takes 3 times the amount of energy to maintain a negative emotion, whether it's you know, stress, tension, anxiety, unhappiness, anger, sadness. Anything that happens during the day with any kind of interaction or situation that comes across with work or social or family relationships, whatever happens, it's like people are it's so much easier, people think, to just slip into a negative mood, to just be like, it is what it is. You know, I'm not going to deal with it. I'm not going to change it. You know, that's how it is. And that's where the phrase misery loves company comes in, because it's you magnetically attract what you're exhibiting and whatnot. But what's interesting with Tantric Sex can help people tap in to their to that divine energy and have it last enough to ride you through the bad emotions that are going to come up. That's another positive aspect of sex that's beneficial to people, especially tantric sex, that, you know, has the trust and has the rhythm and has the breathing and has the tapping into the divine spirit and feeling the pure euphoria for longer than a split second, that's where that energy is going to last. That's way it is actually really important to have a healthy sex life. And it's not just a healthy sex life doesn't just mean often. It means doing it properly.
Right, yes. Often is good for the physical, but we're talking about
mental and emotional.
Physical connection. We're talking about spiritual, the deep connection that quality sex can provide.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned very briefly, and since we're getting to the top of our hour here, I'd like to cover this a little bit more. You mentioned briefly that tantric sex is just one way to tap into the feminine divine. And believe me, this was a very enlightening conversation, and I want to thank you for that. But perhaps you can share a couple of other brief ways that people can tap into that feminine divine energy where that does not involve a sexual.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
This is actually part of the coaching work that I do. I help people create magical mind shifts. And a magical mind shift is where you examine the 4 elements in your life. At the top of the call, at the beginning of our call, you mentioned the elements that I explore, the elements of air, water, earth, and fire, all connecting to source. And this is actually one of the greatest ways for men and women to tap into their divine energy and to even access feminine energy that may be around them. Air, the concept of air would be desire. Your 4 pillars are desire, self-image, environment, and aligned action. And the first pillar would be desire, which is to dream, to sit and dream and figure out what it is your heart really wants. And in order to do that, I usually have people do a brain drain. They write everything down, everything that comes up, even from, I want something as simple as a good night's sleep because my pillow really sucks, or something greater. I want to travel. I want to do this. I want to do that. You drain everything down, and you tap into that spirit, and you take as long as you need to, whether it be 10 minutes or whether it be 2 hours. But make sure you've surrounded yourself with, a decent, positive environment in order to tap into your desire. When you've examined desire, then you go into the water spirit, which is self-image. We look at how we see ourselves, how others see us, how do we feel about ourselves. Check in. Are you having a great day? Are you having an okay day? Why are you feeling crappy? Is it because you forgot to eat breakfast? Perhaps. Checking in with yourself, with your self-image, when things are not going right is an amazing way of just realigning everything. The third pillar would be earth, and earth is your environment. I always tell people there are 3 aspects of the environment to check out. Your personal space, which includes office, your car, your home, your office, your home desk, any place of yours that is not in alignment, not feng shuied. People don't realize that the art of feng shui or having things in an orderly, flowing fashion is incredibly important, because the energy that's there in maybe, trash that needs to be thrown out, or laundry spilled across the floor while you're trying to get things done, or you're writing a report or an article for a big deadline. If you have a mess, this is why back in university, when we have the night before finals, why do you think so many of us used to do laundry just randomly until 3 o'clock in the morning before we'd start studying? It's because intrinsically we knew we had to get our environment in order. It's funny, people think that's the art of procrastination. No, that's the divine magic checking in and saying, okay, you can't study, don't worry, I'll take care of you. Do your laundry. You'll feel better. You'll be motivated. That charged energy of cleaning up your space can tap into whatever imagination you need to get things done. And then our final element is fire, When the first three elements are in alignment, fire is aligned action, aligned forward motion. It's the planet Mars. It's taking initiative. It's doing what you need to do, and you won't even have to think about it. When you have a desire, when your desire, your self-image, and your environment is all lined up, your aligned action is going to move forward exactly how you need it to. And when things are not going well, that's the garbage coming up before the calm. You know, when you churn the ocean, you get all the crap that comes out before the beautiful, divine fabulousness that, you know, emerges. I don't have time to get into it now, but there's a beautiful story in Hindu mythology that we talk of where the gods, the angels and the demons, they churn the ocean to bring up, you know, the beautiful things inside, and the first stuff that comes out is poison. And everything.
Yeah,
so,
we don't like those toxins.
Toxins are what comes out. Even when I'm actually going through a detox myself. So when you go through a detox, when you cleanse yourself, when you're changing your environment, any shift is going to bring an increase in the negative in order to get rid of it. Because a lot of times we're repressed. So even if you start coaching or if you start working with somebody and you're feeling more sad or more angry and the feelings are aligned, that's because it's coming to life. We have such a habit as human beings of repressing things. People go into a depression and they keep things level so that they can deal with their daily lives, but they don't deal with the actual feelings of the situations of whatever is going on and everything. So that's why things always get worse before they get better when you start making the changes. And then the fifth element would be source, when you tap into. However you tap into it, whether it's finding a quiet spot and tapping into yourself, listening to silence, whether it's dancing, whether it's doing a physical activity like aerobics, whether it's immersing yourself in Tantric Sex, whichever way you connect to source that makes you feel happy, euphoric, fabulous. Those are the things. Those are the things that, you know, we need to enjoy and endure and everything, because that's what's going to align our lives. You got to do what you got to do to be happy, and then if you can't at that moment, you fake it till you make it, baby. You plaster a smile on your face, like the exercise I gave you the other day from our session, the big Cheshire grin. You jump out of bed from the right side and you say, "I'm ready." And you know what? It's amazing. You fake it till you make it, and 3 minutes later, saying those words, like, you just start feeling this energy in your heart, and it starts spreading into your limbs, and you don't even know where it came from, and then it lasts. The more you do this throughout the day, every time you negative talk or you down talk, check in. You say the words, cancel, cancel. It's cool. It's okay. You snap your fingers. You do what you got to do to check in and constantly, you know, do what you need to do to make sure that you have this free-flowing, wonderful, amazing spirit that goes through the day. And, you know, if you find yourself absorbing other people's energies and everything, then create an energy wall. You just create an energy wall, and you don't need to do anything except say the words out loud. I've got an energy wall up. I feel fantastic. I'm tapped into whatever amazing, incredible energy I started the day with, and nobody can pierce me. Nobody can touch through. I leave all negative stuff, shit, nonsense at the door. only the positive comes in. Yeah. And I'm actually going to end with a quote that you gave me when I was going through a rough time a couple weeks ago. When I coach people, sometimes I feel like I come home and I'm drained. And you told me very neatly at the end of the session, you close it off. And you say, I return your energy to you. I retain my energy for myself. Everything negative is checked at the door, and both of us have only the positive coming left.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah,
I'm glad that stayed with you.
Absolutely. I use it all the time when I talk to people and they ask me, I have negative people at work, how do I deal with it? I said, you say the words to yourself. Guess what? We got an energy shield up. Your energy is yours. My energy is mine. It's not my problem. Your problems are not my problem. I wish us both positivity. And it's funny when you say those words, the other person begins to feel positive and they look around like some gust of wind. if you send a little mental happy thought their way, it's a very strange experiment. I highly recommend, people to try it. But, you actually feel a gust of energy that comes by you, and you're like people who don't know what's going on. They're very bewildered, but, it's neat.
Yeah,
it works.
It is neat. It is very cool. And another saying I think I'd like to leave people with today is the one you gave me. Those of us that are called to be on a slightly different path from others, or even implementing the law of attraction in our lives, people can tell us we're out of touch with reality, or we walk around burying our head in the sand, or we look at life through rose-colored glasses, or basically we're thought of as being weird.
Yes.
And the saying Ms. Chantal shared with me, that I'm going to share with all of you right now, and I love this.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm not weird. My reality is just different from yours.
I love it. And there's a huge Cheshire cat on it from Alice in Wonderland with the great big grin.
Yep, absolutely. I'm not weird. My reality is just different from yours.
Absolutely.
And that actually does bring us to the top of the hour here. So what I would absolutely love for you to do, Shantala, is share with people who are interested in learning more about you, or wanting to explore the possibility of working with you and your 4-pillar system. Please tell them how they can do that.
Well, you can send me an email to findmagicinthemayhem, spell it out, FINDMAGICINTHE, and mayhem is spelled MAYHEM @gmail.com. Shoot me an email and you'll be added to my listserv, and you can also request, I give out 5 gift sessions per week. So you can get a full hour-long gift sessions, and Elaine, you can tell everyone how fantastic they are.
They are fantastic people. I highly recommend you check out working with her. I mean, you only got a smidgen of what her energy is like. This lady is a lot of fun. And don't discount fun. We discount fun too much in our life. We spend money on all the things that we need, but what we need is fun.
Laughter, magic.
Yes. Laughter, magic, possibilities. You got it, baby.
Absolutely.
And that is what life is all about, and it's time we start making that our priority.
Absolutely.
Instead of all the crap that pulls us and weighs us down and has us taking this beautiful gift of life for granted.
Definitely.
So,
you can also
highly recommend.
You can also get a daily dose of magic on, if you're on Facebook, I have a fan page called Shantala, a Goddess to Guide You. Elaine is actually a fan on the page, so you can always tap into my page through her Facebook page, or you can just look in the search box for Shantala, a Goddess to Guide You. And every day you get, several times a day, you'll get a motivational message, a photo, an invitation to join me for a gift session, and I give away amazing prizes. I give away $50 Goddess gift bags, and they're good for men or women, so definitely check in there.
Because it's not just about the goddess, it's about the Adonis, for our Adonis males out there, too.
Absolutely. Adonises, they can tap into magic, yep.
Absolutely. Well, Shantala, I want to thank you so much for sharing this time with all of us and sharing your gift and your wisdom and your laughter and your magic and your energy with all of us on this call. I want to thank all of you who are here so much for being part of this premier experience of the Laughter and Possibilities Lounge. Our next call will be on Monday, May 28th at 1 p.m., and that will be an open coaching call where you can call in and bring your questions, and I will coach you on whatever it is you want coaching on. No topic is off limit. No question is too ridiculous. You can bring anything and everything to that call, but you do have to be a paid member to participate in the open coaching call. And as I've extended the pre-launch pricing through this coming Saturday, the 19th. So you can still join for the ridiculously low introductory price of $10 a month or $97 for the year. And I invite you to email me at elaine@avalonianmoon.com to request more information if this is of interest to you. Shantala, again, I thank you so much for being part of this experience. And thank you, everyone. And here's to living a life filled with laughter and possibilities. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Bye-bye now.
Bye. Take care.